They told her she was covered. The premiums were paid. The plan was active. She didn't skip care. She didn't miss a payment. She did everything right. But at 6:12 p.m. on a cold Thursday in December, she died. With coverage, she's not alone. In 2023 alone, 56,000 Americans died. While insured, some waited for a callback. Some waited for a fax. Some just waited. And then their time ran out. A signature didn't arrive. An approval didn't come. A covered life expired. Her name was Nataline. She was 17. She had insurance, but not enough time. This is what happens when delay feels like denial, and denial looks like death. Her name was Nataline. She lived in California. She was 17. She liked sketching dresses. Paris was her dream. She had a Pinterest board, all Eiffel Towers and fabric. She got sick. When she was 14, leukemia, chemo, bone marrow from her brother. It worked. For a while, then her liver failed. It wasn't the cancer. It was the cure. That broke her. On December 10th, her doctor walked in, looked at her chart, and whispered, "We need to act now. A liver transplant." That's what she needed. Not next week. Not tomorrow. Now, she had insurance. Her parents double-checked. Signal, active, in network. So they sent the fax, and they waited. But inside her body, something was already counting down. 9:12 a.m., December 11th. The fax went through. It beeped twice. Paper rolled out. CPT 47135, liver transplant. The doctor initialed it, signed, sent, watched the machine blink, and walked away. Nataline was stable, but not for long. Her liver enzymes were rising. Her eyes were yellowing. Her voice was fading. But the form was in everything, was in motion. They told her mom, "We just need approval. It's standard procedure. She's covered." And so they waited. Room 207, monitor blinking, IV dripping. At 11 o'clock, still no callback. At 1 o'clock, no confirmation. The fax had gone out, but nothing came back. Her mom called once. At 11:04, no answer. She called again. At 12:16, "Please, just tell me you got it." At 1:47, she left a voicemail. Voice cracked. "My daughter's liver is failing." Silence. No confirmation. "No, we're reviewing." No doctor-to-doctor call. In room 207, Nataline hadn't eaten. She hadn't spoken. Her skin was pale. Her mother was shaking. Nurses whispered in corners. The monitor beeped. Slower now. They double-checked coverage. Triple-checked the form. It's a pre-approval request. Standard in transplant cases. She's young. She has a match, but approval never came. Just the hum of a fax machine, still blinking, still waiting. And the clock kept moving forward, while Nataline stayed still. The phone rang. At 3:44 p.m., it wasn't a nurse. It wasn't a doctor. It was a rep from Cigna. "We've reviewed the request. Unfortunately, it does not meet our criteria. No apology. No emotion. Just policy. This procedure is considered experimental, not medically necessary." Her father stood there, frozen, his pen still in hand. Her mother grabbed the paper, scanned every word. Unproven. No clear benefit. Coverage denied. The doctor protested. Loud. Furious. She's 17. She has a chance. This is her chance. Cigna didn't respond. They had made their decision. The fax was closed. The file was stamped. Denied. The next morning, the doctor went public. This was a mistake. Nataline had a chance, and someone took it away. News spread. People listened. Then people moved. On December 20th, over 100 people gathered outside Cigna's office. Nurses in scrubs, students in hoodies, moms holding signs. Coverage denied equals life denied. Teens deserve transplants too. The protest swelled. Cameras rolled. A helicopter hovered above. Cigna issued a statement. Cold. Clean. Legal. We stand by our process. Each case is reviewed. On medical evidence alone, the family stood behind the crowd, silent, shaking. Inside a hospital room, Nataline's monitor was slowing down. The world was shouting. But inside her chest, the sound was fading. Under pressure, Cigna changed their mind. At 3:10 p.m., the fax rolled in. One page, black ink, approved. The room was silent. The doctor stared at the machine. He didn't celebrate. He didn't move. He just said, "It's too late." Nataline's organs were shutting down. Her blood pressure dropped. Her breathing slowed. Her father was on the phone, trying to schedule the surgery. Her mother was holding her hand. Her fingers were cold. At 6 p.m., the monitor stopped. Flatline. Nurses stepped in, called time, drew the curtain. The transplant was approved. But the girl was gone. Gone. Because someone took too long to say yes. They filed a lawsuit against Cigna for wrongful death. Their daughter had insurance, had coverage, had approval, but not in time. They brought documents, medical testimony, witnesses. But the judge read something else. ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, 1974. A federal law designed to protect insurers, not patients. No damages can be awarded. Coverage decisions are not criminally liable. The case was dismissed. No trial, no jury, no accountability. Cigna made no statement, no apology, no admission. Nataline was gone. The case was closed. The law said nothing. She had a journal, a purple one, with tiny Eiffel Tower stickers. Inside, sketches of dresses, bold lines, sharp shoulders, soft lace. She wanted to study fashion. In Paris, she had picked the school, the dorm, the route to the bakery nearby. Her room had mood boards, pins, ribbons, dreams. December was supposed to be a pause, just a break. One liver, then back to the plan. Her mom promised, after this, we go, we'll stand under the Eiffel Tower. We'll celebrate your new liver. But now, the journal is closed. The dream archived. Her dresses, never stitched. And the bakery in Paris, still there. Still open. Still waiting. For someone who never came. She wasn't alone. Not by a long shot. In 2023, 1 in 4 MRI requests were denied. Not delayed, not reviewed. Denied. That's 1 out of every 4. Every 4th person told no. The reason, lack of necessity, not urgent. Insufficient documentation, but pain doesn't wait. Disease doesn't pause. Of those denied, 46% never appealed, not because they agreed, but because they didn't know how, or didn't believe anyone would listen. Imagine you're bleeding, and the person holding the gauze says, "Let me check with someone first." Minutes pass, hours pass, lives pass. It's not just paperwork. It's not just delay. It's not just policy. Sometimes it's fatal. She had the same symptoms. Abdominal pain, liver spikes, sudden fatigue. She had the same coverage. Cigna. Same state. Same process. Her doctor sent the fax and waited. But she didn't. 3 hours later, she called. Not the front desk. Not the call center. The supervisor. She cried on the phone. Said her daughter was fading. Said she wouldn't hang up. Until someone said approved. And someone did 42 minutes later. The fax came through, transplant approved. That girl got her liver, got her chance, got her tomorrow. The only difference, a call that wouldn't wait, a voice that wouldn't stop, not policy, not paperwork, just pressure. The hallway was quiet. No rush, no alarms, no shouting, just soft lights, low hum. Paper jammed in a fax machine. A nurse glanced over, but didn't walk faster. A clipboard sat on the counter, still unsigned. A monitor blinked, not flat, but slower, quieter. No one checked the timestamp. No one chased the form. The approval was coming, but time was already leaving. And in room 207, a girl was still waiting. If you're waiting, Call. Don't assume they saw the fax. Don't assume it's in the system. Call. Ask. Confirm. If they deny, demand it. In writing, don't settle for we'll see. Don't accept probably. Get it on paper. With a timestamp. With a name. If no one responds, escalate. Don't wait 24 hours. Don't wait for permission. Ask for a supervisor. A director? A human. With power. And don't stop. Not until they say yes or put their no in ink. That is how you fight delay. That is how you stay alive. If you know someone who's waiting on care, if someone you love is waiting for approval, don't just hope. Don't just trust. Send them this. Show them the steps. Show them what was missed. Show them what happens when waiting wins. Don't assume they'll be fine. Don't assume coverage means safety. We wish it did. We wish it always did. But it didn't. For her, it didn't. For the 56,000 others. So please, if someone came to your mind just now, don't scroll. Don't move on. Share this. It might save them. She didn't miss a payment, didn't skip a form, didn't ask for anything outside the plan. She had a doctor, a diagnosis, a path. The transplant wasn't a luxury. It was scheduled. Approved. Almost. She followed every step, waited for every call, trusted every word. You're covered. It's being reviewed. Just wait a little longer. So she waited until her body stopped waiting. And the plan came later. She trusted the plan, but the plan never came. This was Nataline's story. One form, one delay, one girl who never got the chance. But this story is not unique. Every year, thousands die while fully insured. They followed the rules, submitted the requests, waited patiently, trusted the process, and still, they died waiting, sometimes for a fax, sometimes for a call, sometimes for nothing at all. Nataline had a name, a dream, a timeline. But most don't. Most vanish into silence, into forms, into cold folders, marked incomplete. Next time, we'll tell you about Thomas. He lived in Texas. He had a weak heart. One day, he couldn't breathe. He called 911, but his insurance required prior approval for the ambulance. The hospital requested it. They waited. He didn't make it. Dead before the ride arrived. Dead with coverage. Dead by coverage. True story. Real survival. And the list keeps growing. The room was still, but not empty. A chair sat in the corner. Facing nothing, the IV bag was full. The drip had stopped. The monitor still blinked. No pattern. Just light. Just memory. There was a clipboard, unsigned, unread, unneeded. A blanket was folded, too neatly. No one stood at the window. No one looked at the chart. No one asked, "Is she stable?" Because she wasn't there. She left hours ago. But the machine stayed. The light stayed. The silence stayed. Outside the room, a printer clicked. Slow, methodical, like nothing had happened. Approval forms rolled out. Stamped. Marked. Filed. But inside room 207, time had stopped. Not because it broke, but because it didn't matter anymore. She had waited. They had waited, but no one arrived. The approval came, but the girl was already gone. There's a list, but you'll never see it. It's not in the hospital logs, not in the news, not in the lawsuits. It's not labeled error. It's not called malpractice. It's not even called preventable, because on paper, they did everything right. The forms were submitted. The policies were active. The patients were covered. But still, they died. Not from cancer, not from injury, but from waiting. Their deaths don't make headlines. They don't trigger policy changes. They don't shake boardrooms because no one signed the wrong form. No one made a surgical mistake. No one pulled the plug. They just didn't move fast enough. So the names are buried between billing codes, between departments, between steps that took too long. You won't see them. In government stats, you won't hear about them. In campaigns, but they're there. On faxes that never arrived. On approvals that came too late. On lists no one reads. because no one admits. They exist. She wasn't a case, not a number, not a billing code, not patient 207. Her name was Nataline. She was 17. She liked sketching dresses. Her favorite color was lavender. She once dyed her shoelaces to match her mood. She kept a notebook, filled it with fabric ideas, tiny thumbnails of gowns, notes about pleats, phrases like, "Maybe in Paris, wear this when I survive." She knew the streets in Paris better than her own city. She mapped out thrift shops, pinned cafes. She even chose the bakery she'd visit first. She wanted to get better, not just to live, but to design, to walk again, to draw again, to graduate. Not just to exist, but to become. But all they saw was a fax and a missing signature. She was never part of the plan, because in the end, they didn't see her. Not the sketches, not the girl, not the future. She had penciled in. She wasn't a case. She was the reason. You should never wait for approval. This is what delay looks like. Not a monster, not a villain, just a hallway with no footsteps, a fax machine, still blinking, not broken, just waiting, a paper-clipped form, sitting at the bottom of someone's inbox, a signature line, left blank because the manager stepped out for lunch, a nurse checking the monitor, but not the chart, because it wasn't urgent. Yet, a phone ringing, 3 times. No one picks up. No one calls back. Delay looks like silence, like a chair turned, slightly away from the bed, like a printer, warming up. 10 minutes too late. It looks like the second drawer, in the third desk, on the 4th floor, where the approval sat, where it stayed, until she didn't. Delay doesn't scream. It doesn't crash. It doesn't confess. It just stands there, still, staring, while someone else runs out of time. If you're waiting, stop. If you think they saw your fax, call. If you think your approval is coming, check again. Delay looks polite, professional, reasonable, until it isn't. No one will tell you. You're running out of time. They'll say, "We're reviewing. It's in the system. You should hear back soon." But you don't need soon. You need now. So call. Ask for confirmation. Ask for timestamps. Ask for names. If they say no, get it in writing. Every word, every reason, on paper, and if no one responds, don't wait. Escalate. Now, ask for a supervisor, a director, a human, who can say yes, because we're working on it. Doesn't stop a heart, and she's covered. Didn't save Nataline. If someone came to mind, just now, don't ignore that. If you saw their face, when we said, waiting for approval, this is for them. Send it before the moment passes, before you scroll, before you forget. They're still waiting. They might not know what you now do. They might believe that covered means safe. They might be trusting a process that doesn't move until it's too late. So send it, even if it feels awkward, even if you're not sure what to say. Just say, watch this. It might matter. Because if they're waiting, they shouldn't be. And if no one told them, then now you will. Nataline's parents didn't get this warning, but maybe someone else still can. Maybe someone still has time. She followed every step. She got her checkups, took her meds, did what the doctors said. She called her insurer, filed her paperwork, waited in room 207. She never raised her voice, never skipped protocol, never asked for more than coverage. Her parents confirmed the policy, confirmed the network, confirmed the procedure. They faxed, called again. The doctors submitted the form, stamped it, escalated it. They pushed. They emailed. They waited. And still, the answer came too late. Not because she did anything wrong, not because the coverage failed, but because approval moved slower than her condition. She followed every step. And still, she died. Dead by procedure. Dead by timing. Dead by coverage. She wasn't a statistic. She wasn't a file. She wasn't a denied claim. She was a daughter. She laughed when her cat sneezed. She cried watching Pixar movies. She wanted to study fashion. Not to be famous, just to make something beautiful. She did what she was told. She stayed hopeful. She waited, and she died. No lawsuit changed the law. No executive lost their job. No one said they were sorry. No one was held responsible. No one ever is. But you heard her story? You saw her waiting. You saw the light fade. Now you know. Now you carry her. And when they ask what this was all about, don't say denial. Don't say delay. Don't say system. Say her name. Say it out loud. Her name was Nataline